Hi YouTube. How's everybody? It's DEDEBLASS, SoundCloud, the Black Madonna, coming in for some news. DEDEBLASS has news. Okay, now these stories that I'm going to do right now, we have maybe one or two gories, I think. Maybe one or two. I'll try not to make the whole tape with the, gory stories. You do need to hear them. You need to hear the unthinkable. You need to know that this is going on. And so you watch yourself better. You watch your children better. You understand? So, this is, I'm not going to make the whole thing gory. If I do two gories, then I'll try to put some entertainment in to kind of take away from, the gory story. Okay? All right. So, what I want to do is, I got to put my windshield wipers on. Okay, here we go. All right, now I'm going to start with the stories. Okay, Hartford, Manchester, Connecticut. A plea has been entered in a drug and a gun case with Tiesto, Manchester murder. The leading prosecutor, John H. Durham, United States Attorney for the District of Connecticut, said that 35-year-old Hartford resident Denroy Fable, who goes by the name Kick. He's 35. He entered a guilty plea on Monday before U.S. District Judge Janet C. Hall in New Haven to firearm narcotics offenses. Police were searching for a fugitive wanted in connection with a homicide in Manchester. Okay? All right. So I hope they catch that person, okay? All right, here we go. Now, there were 7 arrested in alleged prostitution sting in Hartford. And undercover officer John was inserted into an area and where a solicitation deal was accepted. Arrests were made, police said. Numerous complaints of street-level prostitution throughout the South Side District of Hartford. Detectives conducted a surveillance with identified complaints, of the people, complaining of the prostitution. So observing numerous suspect prostitutes working in the area. Okay, a total of 9 people were arrested, 7 being adult females. 2 additional people were all arrested for active warrants on violations. Ronisha Jackson, 32, was arrested for prostitution. Catherine Kaplick, 26, was also arrested for prostitution. Jacqueline Derby, 26, was also arrested for prostitution. Teresa Del Riso, 37, was also arrested for prostitution. Samantha Filbert, 20, also was arrested for prostitution. Ashley Jackson Murphy, 19, also was arrested for prostitution. Okay, Megan Nicholas, 30 years old, she was also arrested for prostitution. Okay, now what's going on is that they have warrants. Some people got away. Okay, which was Alexandria Peterson. She's 35. She's being charged with larceny in the 6th degree. Pacheco Lino, he's 21 years old. He has a criminal violation protective order. Okay, so those two, they have warrants out for their arrest, so they will be, they'll be caught, for that, of course. Okay, all right, now, here it is. This is one of the gory ones, but I want to get it out. A child serial killer who raped raped and murdered a 6-year-old girl is hanged in front of her dad. Little Zainab Azaris, she was only 6 years old. So her father is very heartbroken. Dad looked on as her killer, Muhammad Amran, took his final breaths at the Pakistani prison today. He has murdered, 8 children, including the little girl who we're speaking about. So it's a short story. I guess her father was in jail, and the guy came, and I guess some people decided to vigilante, and so they hung him, for killing. He was a child serial killer. He was killing children. So next. All right, now there was a little girl, 4 years old. Here's a glory. She's 4 years old. She was gang raped in India in a hospital. A hospital worker and four others were, in intensive care where she was. The child was being treated for a snake bite, and they took her and she was in intensive care for the snake bite. So they found themselves in the intensive care themselves. And what they did was they took turns at raping her. She was 4 years old. They attacked her. One man is in custody, and the others they're on the loose. So they have several people on the run right now. So let's hope and wish that they catch these people for raping that little girl. See what I mean? That's the garbage. I don't appreciate that at all, not one bit. Okay, now Hartford's police officer, a white police officer, has been fired from WFSB Hartford. And an officer who was caught on camera saying to Spanish boys, and he was saying to the black boys that he was a trigger happy. Police officer. So, keep everything, straight because he's trigger happy. So anyway, the video surfaced over the summer of the officer. His name was Stefan Baron, who was recording, who has been recorded, saying this to the black children and to the Spanish children. Sergeant Stefan Baron was recorded telling a group of people, but the group of people were black children and they were Spanish children. Okay, in Hartford, that he was trigger happy back in August on Facebook. Hartford police chief said, our success as police department depends on our relationship with the community we serve. Most officers are out doing out doing good work with progress, and respect. This officer. This officer who we're speaking about, his conduct does not reflect the value of their agency. It did not they didn't take this lightly. Okay, so we have, they said that they have standards. The Harvard Police Department, they're rebuilding relations with the community, so the suspect, I don't know, transparency and his sharing desire to love and strong Hartford. WFSB Channel 3 will be an update. There's going to be an update about this story. It's very short, very sharp and short. Rebuilding relations with the community with mutual respect. I think that's a good thing, something to look into. To you know what I mean. Having things a little more friendlier between the police officers and some of the residents here, in Hartford. You know what I mean? So if everyone puts effort into it, it can be done. It can be done. Because there is some good officers out there. It's not like all of them are going to shoot you in the back and kill you. That's not true. So you do meet some people, that have had a hard time with police officers. So I mean, and you have to take that, you got to take that serious. But at the same time, it's really great that they want to build a communication and relations with the community. I think that's super. You know what I mean? Good chief of police, huh? All right, that's great. Okay, all right. Now here's another story. You know what? A lot of, I always thought that racial profiling, I always thought racial profiling was like, on the road, out and about, within the community, on the highway, what have you, street driving, whatever, But now this is a strange story here because it was three white women who repeatedly called police on a black man while he was constructing the community garden. He was building a garden. One black man in Detroit almost had his life ruined after three women reportedly made calls to police accusing him of various crimes, including pedophilia. Deborah Nash, Jennifer Morris, and Martha Callahan are peoples in the neighborhood who weren't pleased with his project. The community garden peoples was tending. Yeah, he was building a garden, raking up the leaves. What happened to be across the street from their house. which is nearby. Okay, so what happened was Metro Times reports that throughout 2017 and early 2018, the women called police dozen times to make increasingly severe, accusations against the man. The devious women first called the police to accuse his name was Peoples, Mr. Peoples, of illegal gardening. But then, when the cops refused to respond to those claims, they came up with even more serious allegations that Nash first alleged that Peoples threatened her, saying as soon as they say the word, they can come and arrest him right now. You will be out of that house, and I'm going to. She said that he told her, you will be out of that house, and I'm going to take it. She also claimed he told her that white people were not allowed in most black areas, in most black neighborhoods. Those claims were followed by claims that Peoples was vandalizing on homes. He threatened to burn down her house and kill her, took part in a drive-by on her home, and deny her access to her house. Earlier this year, Nash also said, wow. Okay. Nash also looked out for when Peoples was working on the garden and called the police to say that he had a gun. The police cops responded to her call only to meet Peoples raking leaves. So Metro Times obtained a body camera footage that showed that just showed that, he was just raking the leaves, getting the areas, good for the community. Okay, so now there isn't, so the cops said it ain't no law against raking leaves, so the guy didn't have anything on him. He wasn't wanted for anything, no warrants. They went to the end of the deal with this bullshit too. It's really sad. So eventually police was charged. They charged. I'm sorry. Eventually, Peoples was charged with 3 counts of stalking, and 2 weeks ago, the district judge Lionese Bryant threw the case out. It was a reputation. His reputation has suffered due to these accusations and to this incident. His life and his business adventures are suffering for these 3 old hags. They was racists, So you know what I mean. So things like that, they go on, move on, just move on, you know what I'm saying? So all we can do is just move on. Everybody just live their life, let people handle things the way they do, and that's their business. So, okay. So it was great getting the news out to you all. I really appreciate you guys listening to the news. Everything's good for me. I've been having a great day today. I had a great time. I spent a lot of time out today with my son. And we went out and just had a nice walk, just kind of talking and walking, you know what I mean? But everything's good for me, so I hope everything's good for you guys, okay? And I want to just make sure that everybody's happy with life. Don't give up. Don't be, miserable. Be happy, okay? All right, so I'm going to get out of here, all right? And I'll get back to see you guys real soon. I have a hell of more news, okay? All right, see you later.